Hello everyone, welcome back to Bascar Bricks. Now I'm going to try something a little bit different here. I know usually when I do a video like this, I have a second device that I'm holding as kind of a makeshift microphone. Well, today I've decided to sacrifice that for an additional camera so I can kind of shoot two shots at once here. So today we're taking a look at my collection of Lego Stormtroopers. Now, if you're here looking for a complete collection, you've come to the wrong place. This is not even close to a complete collection. I'm just someone who kind of collects minifigs on the side and happens to also really like Stormtroopers. You know, a lot of younger kids today are more into clone troopers. I've always been more of a Stormtrooper guy. So today I thought I'd break out all of my Stormtroopers and we can kind of take a look at them, and hopefully we can revisit this in a few years and hopefully I'll have a much larger collection. Now I like to quickly go over what I'm talking about here. When I say Stormtrooper, I mean Stormtrooper. I'm not talking about Inferno Squad, I'm not talking about TIE Fighter pilots, or First Order Stormtroopers. We're talking about classic Imperial Stormtrooper. So I hope that clears things, and let's get into it. Alright, let's start right up with the early 2000s. Now this is to my knowledge, the very first variation of a Stormtrooper that LEGO ever came out with. Now, I believe this guy first came out in 2001, and for 2001, I'd say this is a pretty darn good minifigures, especially in terms of his torso and back printing. Back printing. There were a lot of minifigures from the early 2010s that didn't even have back printing, but yet this guy from 2001 still did. The torso and back printing here, I believe, was very ahead of its time. Though what wasn't ahead of its time is the goofy mustache misprint that was on a lot of these early Stormtrooper minifigures. Admittedly, I love it. I think it's goofy, but if you want to go for accuracy, that was a big flaw back then. I'm sure if we had something like this nowadays, that'd be a big deal. So as much as I like these misprints, I can't really call it a positive thing. I'm sure it caused a lot of people, a bit of frustration back in the day. But besides that, great figure. Let's move on. Now this is more of what that original Stormtrooper was supposed to look like, but this guy has a couple of minor upgrades. Specifically, he has some grills on his little mouthpiece here. Additionally, he also has some improved printing on his torso and his back here. Overall, this is my personal favorite version of the Stormtrooper. It's one that was more of around when I was a bit of a younger child. With that said, it's by far not even close to being super accurate. Realistically, it's a little bland, it's a little plain, but I still love them. There's just something about these guys very nostalgic to me, very childlike in their simplicity. Yeah, love these guys. Alright, so this guy is only different from the past minifigure in one regard, being this awesome, massive pauldron. I mean, this thing's big, right? I mean, look at this. It's a lot bigger than a lot of the pauldrons that we normally get, which is cool. This guy's very unique, and he's like $10 or $15 more, at least on Brickset, than the guy that we just took a look at. I guess that's minifig collecting for you. Now, this guy, I believe, is fairly identical for the past two minifigures, though once again, he differs in his accessories. And here he has a black pauldron and a backpack, because of course this is a sand trooper, so this is before LEGO actually, made sand troopers super distinguished from regular stormtroopers. This is just a normal stormtrooper, but with some interesting accessories on. No sand detailing, no dirtying up. Just a regular stormtrooper, and for the time I think it was effective enough. I'm sure it was helpful back then for army building to have stormtrooper variations really a lot normalized, and you don't have a lot of super different printing to look out for. If you wanted a stormtrooper, you can still get a bunch of sand troopers, remove all the accessories, and you just have a normal stormtrooper. And while I'm sure that was nice, the upgrades are cool, and we'll take a look at a couple of the upgrades in a little bit, but for now, let's move on. Alright, so now we're at our first major kind of diverse and unique stormtrooper. This is the very first Shadow Trooper. LEGO's made a couple of these, and this is a very interesting one. As on one hand, I love its simplicity. I love a lot of the unique shiny printing, a lot of the unique colors on this guy. Overall, it's a really unique and awesome minifigure, but also, I feel like he's lacking a little bit. I could have used a bit more, specifically on the legs. Just having dark legs there, to me, is a little boring. Because, sorry, he kind of fell. But if you got past minifigs, they at least had the black hip piece, which kind of helped to distinguish it a little bit. Unfortunately, this Shadow Trooper doesn't have that. Now, I would have liked maybe some sort of sand blue, maybe, somewhere on his legs, like he has a lot of all over the rest of his armor. I don't know if they were capable back when they were making this minifigure, but hey, it's a cool minifig to have. It's a great experimentation for LEGO. They really didn't do a whole lot of variety back in the day, so this was great to see. Well, we're going to be getting a lot of variety in our Stormtrooper minifigures here for now on. This is what is to my knowledge, the first version of a Sand Trooper that is an actual distinguished Sand Trooper, not just a normal Stormtrooper with additional accessories. This is a unique Sand Trooper. I love this minifigure. Now, this guy actually does have updated torso printing. I unfortunately don't have a normal Stormtrooper yet with this normal torso printing. So this is the best that I have to replicate this version of the Sand Trooper. I think this guy just looks awesome. Once again, it keeps that classic feel of the Stormtroopers that we've been taking a look at, just with extra detail. And also, leg printing, and a cool pauldron here. Overall, I love this minifig. Alright, so the next minifigure we're taking a look at is the second out of 3 Shadow Troopers that LEGO has made so far. And this was actually part of a battle pack mini. He's a very accessible minifigure, which is awesome, because he has so much awesome detailing. His armor is in this really cool and unique color. And I don't know, the way that they put the paint applications, it's incredibly unique. It's not as robust or uniform as Empire minifigures usually are. You can see, I don't know if that's any simulated wear or anything. Overall, it's just an incredibly unique minifigure. This one, I do think that this is the first time we see Angry Clone. So, yeah, a lot of that. I think for just about almost the rest of the video, we're going to be seeing Angry Clone here. And this is also an updated variation on the Stormtrooper design. I don't actually have a regular version of this updated design yet. I know these were very common in a lot of the Rogue One sets, so. And kind of like, 2014, 15, and on era until we got the newly updated helmets, which we'll take a look at later. Overall, one of my favorite minifigures. If you're looking for some cool Imperial minifigures, this battle pack is pretty easy to get, and you get some awesome figures in it. So yeah, love that guy. Alright, so now we're on to a solo minifigure. This is, I believe it's an Imperial Patrol Trooper. Did not bother looking up the names, but immediately were captivated by this unique and exclusive helmet. Yet once again, this is a battle pack minifigure. So this is a figure that is really, really easy to get. And he is so cool. So much unique detailing. Is that dual molded? I don't think it is. I think it just might be just really good paint applications. You'd have to correct me on that. We actually don't get a black hip piece. Instead, you get some really well done hip printing. While admittedly you have a little bit of a gap right here, it's not terrible. Overall, this minifigure is once again a favorite of mine. Super unique. Alright, those of you who have been at Beskar Bricks for any period of time have probably already seen me talk about this guy rather extensively. This is one of my favorite LEGO minifigures in my collection, and really the only truly collectible minifigure we're taking a look at. This is the guy that really has any ounce of value. This is the Minbin Stormtrooper. He was an exclusive to a solo TIE fighter that came out a little while ago. One of the rare minifigures from the Minbin battle, which is awesome. I really wish that they made more sets off of that. So it's really cool to get this quick glimpse. This guy is just unique all over. First of all, it's a gray Stormtrooper. He has a lot of awesome camouflage on him. This really cool kind of cape here, cloak, a very awesome and exclusive helmet. You really can't go wrong with this guy. Alright, now we have another Sand Trooper, and it's about time I talk about the new Stormtrooper helmets here. Objectively speaking, the older ones I feel like are a little bit more accurate, but I have some bias towards these guys. Honestly, these larger helmets remind me of a lot of the classic Star Wars toys from like the late 70s and 80s, a lot of the old Kenner action figures. So I don't know, these just have a lot more of a goofy, toyish quality, which at the end of the day, I am a toy collector. So to me, I don't know. I really like the new helmets. I know that's a huge controversial thing to say. I understand why people don't like them. Me personally, I like them for all of the wrong reasons. Now, once again, they are dual molded though. So detail wise, these helmets are a lot more detailed. Speaking of detail, we get another improved torso printing here. I believe that the torso and legs aren't exclusive to this guy. We get an awesome updated pauldron, updated backpack with some, excuse me, cool new pieces. Overall, I think this is a great figure. And surprisingly, this guy is kind of worth a little. This is like a $30 minifigure. Oddly enough, he was exclusive to really one set. If you want a newer style of Stormtrooper, you can either get the Mos Eisley Cantina for 2 exclusive minifigs, and that's it, or you can go with the Dewback Microfighter, which once again has an exclusive minifigure. Obviously, this guy's cheaper, but still, you know, they're not super common nowadays. And yet, believe it or not, the standard Stormtrooper with the new helmet came after the Sand Trooper, which I remember being quite odd. You know, we had to wait a little bit to get this guy, but me personally, I was happy for the wait. I'm not really going to repeat too much of what I said before about the helmet, as all of that goes to this guy. I really love this minifigure. These are one of the rare guys that I actually have quite a few of. Now, I'm only including one of these minifigures, as nowadays there are a bunch of variations of this minifigure in regard to the heads. They have a lot of varying heads, a lot of different ethnicities and skin tones and facial expressions. I'm not going to be including all those guys. I'm just going to use this one guy to include all of them. I believe this is specifically one of the early ones, which you can tell by the angry clone face. I say early, more like, I don't know, 2021, somewhere around that, whenever these guys first came out. Awesome minifig, love to have him. Now we have the third and final Shadow Trooper. This is by far my favorite. This guy is just scary. He's a real badass. You do not want to fuck around with this guy. He will beat you up, I feel like. I don't know, just this guy scares me. Now, instead of the other 2 minifigures had a little bit of color, a little bit more sand bluish colors, a little bit of lighter grays. This guy is just completely black with kind of gray and metallic printing. He's really cool to hold to the sun. Sorry, to the light. I don't know how well you can see him. Probably not super well. I'll try to show some of it here, but he shines a little bit. Just an awesome minifigure if you're looking for some really cool, unique Stormtroopers that aren't super hard to get. He did come in a battle pack, admittedly. It was a $20 battle pack, and a few years back when battle packs were still $15. So, yeah, not super hard to get, so I'd recommend getting him if you're into Stormtroopers. Alright, we're on to our last minifigure of the day, and one of my favorites. This is the Mortar Stormtrooper. This guy came out in the Armored Marauder, I believe. I think that's what it was called. An awesome Lego set. I believe it was recently retired. Now, this was one of the rare variations of a Stormtrooper that is still kind of, you know, within the normal kind of uniform Stormtrooper. Now, as we've seen with a lot of the previous variations, they were very obscure. They were Shadow Troopers. They were all dirtied up, you know, different colors, armor, and camouflage. This guy is just plain Stormtrooper armor with some unique markings, which we've only gotten a handful of times before with like an old Shock Trooper from a battle pack. This guy, once again, it's really just a normal Stormtrooper with a unique little pauldron here, a great backpack, just awesome printing, and also we also see the diverse facial expressions, no more angry cloud. Overall, I love this guy. He was super available too. That set came with I think 2 more Stormtroopers too. So that was a great time to build up a bit of a Stormtrooper collection with that set. Love this minifigure, one of my favorites, and I really wish that LEGO would give us more of these, like that flamethrower Stormtrooper. I'd love to get that. Well, yep, that's the last Stormtrooper for today. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed taking a look at something a little bit different. I know usually I don't take a look at the side components of LEGO sets like minifigs. Usually I mostly focus on the sets of a whole. Now, if you'd like to see more of these micro collections of maybe other characters you'd like to see, feel free to leave them down. I had a lot of fun digging through all of my minifigs and, you know, bringing on all these guys. A lot of times when you have a lot of minifigs, it's hard to appreciate a lot of them individually, and I found this video was awesome to kind of revisit some of these minifigs on an individual basis. So if you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, maybe consider leaving a like, subscribe, and all of the YouTube junk. I hope to see you on my next video. See ya.